This is the recording of Unit 13 review. Before we get started, you should take out your notes or your topics 13-1 through 13-5 and staple them together because you will be using these topics in order to help you with the review. Our first 4 questions are coming from topic 13-1. So if you are having trouble remembering how to work these problems, please refer to your topic 13-1 in order to answer the questions 1 through 4. Our first things we're going to do is multiply monomials. And so when we multiply monomials, we rewrite them, putting the numbers first. So we take the 2 and 4. Then I'm going to write the variables with each other. So a cubed comes from the first parenthesis, and a to the 1 power comes from the second parenthesis. And last, we still have a b squared. Now we can multiply the numbers. 2 times 4 is 8. When I have the same bases, that means we can add their exponents. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So now I have a to the 4th power, and there's only a b squared, so b squared is there. So our answer is 8a raised to the 4th power, b raised to the 2nd power. If you look at your last page on your review, you will see an answer sheet, scrambled answers. Notice that all the answers that have a's and b's are on the top, followed by answers with x's and y's, then answers with m, n's, and p's. Then we have our fractions or ratios. And the first one, again, A, B's, and C's. The second one have just X's and Y's. And last, we have our polynomials. So this will help you in order to figure out, okay, where my answers are located. Our first answer was 8, a to the 4th b squared. So I'll look at the top and I find 8, a to the 4th b squared. We'll cross it out. Our second one, we have 3 parentheses. Okay, so it's all multiplication. We'll do the same process. Let's start with writing our numbers first. So we have a 3 and a 5. Then we're going to put our m's together. First parenthesis gives us m to the 4th. Second parenthesis is m to the 1. Last parenthesis, we have m to the 1 power. And then our p's, we have p squared. And from the first parenthesis, p squared from the second parenthesis, and p from the third. So let's multiply our numbers. 3 times 5 is 15. We have all our m's together. They have the same base. That means we can add their exponents. So 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 6. This will give us a base m raised to the 6th power. Our last one are our p's. So 2 plus 2 plus 1 will give us p to the 5th power. Again, I'm going to look at my answer choices. I'm dealing with m's and p's. So I'm looking for 15, m to 6, p to the 5. Cross it out. Problem number 3. Find the area of a rectangle in square units if the length of the rectangle is 5x to the 4th, y to the 7th, and the width is 7xy cubed. So to find the area of a rectangle, that is length times width. That means we're going to take our length of 5x to the 4th, y to the 7th, multiply it times 7xy cubed. Put our numbers first. We have 5 times 7. Followed by variables, we have x to the 4th times x to the 1. And then we have our y's, y to the 7th times y to the 3rd. 5 times 7 is 35. Our x's have the same base. We add our exponents. That'll give us x to the 5. Y's have the same base. We'll add our exponent. 7 plus 3 is 10. So we have 35, x to the 5th, y to the 10th. You can now go and check your answers on your own. Number 4, A means we want to find area, P means we want to find perimeter. So let's start with the perimeter. So this is 2x. Perimeters at all sides. We have 2x plus an x plus an x plus 3x plus a total of 3x on this side And now I need to know what's along the top. Well, I know that from here's x, and this is 3x, so this total is going to be 4x. So now when I add them, I have 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. That'll give us 14x is our perimeter. To do area, we're going to break this up into two different figures. So I'm going to deal with this rectangle that's here. And the area is the length times the width. We see our length is x, our width is 2x. So this particular area is going to be 2x squared. From my figure 2 on the other side, I see my length is 3x and the width is 3x. And so we get a 9x squared is the area for 2. To get the total area, we have to add area 1 and area 2. So that'll be 2x squared plus 9x squared will give us 11x squared. Problems 5 through 7 are from topic 13-2. So now you can turn to 13-2 if you have trouble with problems 5 through 7. These deal with exponents that have powers. And so you will see a parenthesis with an exponent on the outside. The exponent on the outside tells you how many times to stamp out what is in the parenthesis. So we're going to stamp out the parenthesis twice. Gives us 4a squared b cubed. And we do that 2 times because the exponent on the outside is 2. Now we will follow our rules of multiplication. Put our numbers together, 4 and 4. Put our letters together, so I have a squared and an a squared. And in our b's, we have b cubed and b cubed. And now we're going to multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. Our a squares, they have the same base. We can add their exponents. That'll be a to the 4th. B cubes have the same base. We can add their exponent. 3 plus 3 is 6. So our answer is 16, a to the 4th, b to the 6th. Number 6, we have 2 sets of parentheses that are raised to exponents. So the first one we're going to stamp out 4 times. 2xy, that's 1 time. 2xy 2 times. 2xy 3 times. 2xy 4 times. Our second set of parentheses, we stamp it out twice. So we 2x squared y cubed, that's 1. And 2x squared y cubed, that's 2. Now we'll follow our rules for multiplication. Put our numbers together. We got a 2 from the first, times 2 from the second one, times 2, times 2. Notice how I am crossing them out as I write them down so I don't write them down more than once. Then our x from the first parenthesis, that'll be x to the 1. Second parenthesis, I got another x to the 1. Third parenthesis, x to the 1. Fourth parenthesis, x to the 1. Fifth parenthesis, x squared. And the last parenthesis is an x squared. Now we have our y's. First parenthesis, that's y to the 1 power. Second parenthesis, y to the 1. Third parenthesis is y to the 1. Fourth parenthesis, y to the 1. Fifth parenthesis, y cubed. And sixth parenthesis, y cubed. Now we can multiply. Might be helpful to use your calculator to multiply these 2's. You are multiplying, not adding. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Don't make the mistake of adding them together. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, and then 32 times 2 is 64. Look at my x's, we'll add them all together. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus another 1 is 3, plus another 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So this will be x to the 8th. We'll do the same thing for the y. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 3. And that is going to give us y to the 10th power. Number 7 says find the area of a square that has a side length of 5a to the 6. If it is a square, that means the sides are equal. So 5a to the 6. To get our area, we're going to multiply them together. That would be 5 times 5, and a to the 6 times a to the 6. 5 times 5 is 25, and then same basis, we can add. This gives us a to the 12. Our next problems come from topic 13.3. Refer to topic 13.3. This has to do with division. So when we deal with division, we're going to separate our numbers and our variables like we've done before. Start with the numbers. We have a -3 on top and a 15 on the bottom. Then we're going to do our A's. So there's 4 A's on top. Let's stamp them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 A's on bottom. Stamp them out. 1, 2, 3. Look at the B's. We have 5 B's on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 3 B's on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Now that we've separated and stamped them out, we can now simplify. The -3 over 15 will simplify to a -1/5. You can use your calculator, type in -3 divided by 15, and then hit math, enter, enter, and it will give you the fraction. Next, we'll look at our A's. Cancel anything that has the 1 in the top and the bottom, and we are left with 1 A on top. Do the same with the B's, and we have a total of 2 B's on top. So our answer is a -1 AB squared over 5. Number 9, we do the same way. Separate our numbers of 12 and 4. Then our x's, we have 3 x's on top, 7 x's on bottom. Followed by 6 y's on top and 1 y on the bottom. Now we can simplify. Our 12 divided by 4 is going to give us a 3. Since it's a whole number, it stays in the top. Cross out my x's. We have 4 x's at the bottom. Cross out the y's, and we have 5 y's on top. So our final answer is 3y to the 5th on top and x to the 4th on the bottom. We're still dealing with division. So again, let's start with our numbers. We have 3 times a 4 and a 2 on the bottom. Look at our m's. From our first parenthesis, there's 1 m. From the second parenthesis, there's 3. So stamp it out 3 times. In the denominator, we have 1 m in the bottom. And then we're still left with 1 n from the first parenthesis and 1 n from the second parenthesis on top. So our number, we can type in our calculator, 3 times 4 and divide by 2. 3 times 4 divided by 2 gives us 6. It's in the numerator. Since it's a whole number, the m's cancel. We're left with an m to the 3rd power on top. The last one, we have 2 n's squared on top. We don't have anything on the bottom, so there's an understood 1 down here when there's nothing left there, or we can totally ignore the 1 because anything divided by 1 is going to be whatever you started with. So our answer is 6m cubed n squared. One more. We put the 4 and 8 together. Put our b's together. From the first parenthesis, we have 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second parenthesis, we have 2's. 1, 2. In the bottom, we have just 1. Look at our c's. In the top, we have 2 c's. From the second parenthesis, 1 c. And in the bottom, 6 c's. Let's simplify. 4 divided by 8 gives us a fraction. That'll be 1/2. B's cancel. We're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So b to the 6th power on the top. Cancel out our c's, and we have c to the third power on the bottom. So our answer is going to be 1b to the 6 over 2c cubed. Or since this is a 1 on top, this might be seen as just b to the 6 2c cubed in the bottom. Number 12 comes from topic 13-4. So you're looking at 13-4. This has to do with the negative exponents and raising to the 0 power. So one thing we talked about when you have a negative exponent, put everything over 1. And then that tells you if you have a negative exponent, we're going to move it and change it. Or some people said flip it and change it. That means if it was in the numerator, it now becomes in the denominator and it becomes positive. The x to the 8 is still in the top. So now this is a division problem we can stamp out. 8 times on the top and then 4 times on the bottom. The x's cancel and we're left with x to the 4th. Some of you may have recognized and said, hey, this is just a multiplication. So I could actually just take my exponents and add them together. If I add them together, this will give us x to the positive 4. Both methods work. You have to choose the one that works best for you. So let's start with the next one. This looks like multiplication, so let's put our numbers together. Negative 4 times the 7. Then a to the negative 2 and a to the positive 3. Then we have a b to the 1 and a b to the 9. Negative 4 times the negative 4 times 7, that's a negative 28. If I take my a's and add them together, a to the negative 2, so negative 2 plus a positive 3 is a positive 1. And if I take my b's and add them together, we got b to the 10th. So our answer is negative 28, a, b to the 10th. Notice I didn't show my a, the 1 that is the exponent on the a. On 14, notice we have a number or variable raised to the 0 power. We know that equals to 1. So this first one is actually 2 times 1, y to the 4th, which is just 2y to the 2y, that whole quantity raised to the 4th. So now we have exponents that are negative as well as exponents outside the parentheses. So this goes back to, let's stamp out the exponents outside the parentheses. So the 2y we're going to stamp out 4 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 2x to the negative 2y cubed we stamp out twice because the exponent outside the parentheses is a 2. So 2x to the negative 2y cubed, 2x to the negative 2y cubed. Now we'll put all our numbers together. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 and times 2. We should have 6 of them. We put our y's together. There's y to the 1 from the first parenthesis, y to the 1 from the second one, y to the 1 from the third one, and y to the 1 from the fourth parenthesis. And then we have y cubed, and then y cubed. We still have some x's, so this is x to the negative 2 and x to the negative 2. We multiply all these 2's out. Again, we're multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, so on and so forth. This will give us 64. When I add up my y's, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 3, that gives us a total of 10, so y's to the 10th power. Then if I do the same for my x's, add them up, negative 2 plus a negative 2, that's a negative 4. I now have a negative exponent. I don't want a negative exponent. So I'm going to make this look like ratio, put it over 1, everything over 1. And then anything with a negative exponent is now moved and changes. So the other two, the 64 and the y10, stay the same. The x now moves to the bottom, becomes positive. So we have 64 y to the 10 over x to the 4th. Okay, the last 3 problems come from our last topic, topic 13.5. 13.5 deals with polynomials adding and subtracting. So we are going to add these polynomials together. This is combining like terms. I'm looking for all my x squareds, and then I will look for all my x's. So I'm boxing them, and last are my constants. I like to write them up and down, so I'm going to take the 2x squared minus x, that's in the first parenthesis, and in second parenthesis I'm going to write it underneath, lining up my like terms. So the 1x squared plus 3x and minus 1. Now when I add them, 2 plus 1 is 3. They still have the same last name, x squared. Negative 1 plus 3 is a positive 2, still has the last name of x, and then minus 1. Here's our polynomial, 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. The next one, we have a subtraction sign. So when there's a subtraction sign, we have to distribute it into the parentheses. That means we're going to change the sign of everything inside the parentheses. So the positive 6y becomes a negative 6y squared. The minus 2y becomes a plus 2y, and the plus 7 becomes a minus 7. So we have distributed the minus sign. Now we can combine like terms. Our y squared, 16y squared, and a negative 6y squared. Then we have just our y's, negative 8y and a positive 2y, unboxing. And last are the constants 9 and negative 7. Again, I'm going to rewrite it because my brain works when adding and subtracting going up and down, thanks to my elementary school. Subtract 6y squared plus 2y minus 7. 16 minus 6 we have is 10y squared. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6y, and 9 minus 7 is a positive 2. So our answer is 10y squared minus 6y plus 2. Number 17, we're going to find the total area of the figure if the shaded region is 6 squared. So the area in here is 6x squared minus 2x plus 3. And the corners each have an area of 4x squared. So if I'm going to find the total, that means we are adding. Total means add. So we have a 6x squared minus 2x plus 3, and then a 4x squared. We're going to add 2 and another 4x squared for another corner, and a 4x squared for a third corner, and a 4x squared for the fourth corner. When I add 6 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, we get 22. X squared is the same. I didn't add anything to this negative 2x, and I didn't add anything to the plus 3. So our answer is 22x squared minus 2x plus 3. The rest of the problems are in random order of the topics, and so this is just to see, can you figure out where they come from and be able to do them. So number 18, we have a negative exponent. I'll put that over 1 because now I'm going to move it and change it. Moves to the bottom, changes to a positive. Number 19, I have a letter to a 0, so that's going to become a 1. 2 times 1 is just 2, so this is 2b to the negative 4c. I also see I have a negative exponent, so that means we are going to move it, only the b, and change the exponent to positive. 20, we have an exponent on the outside, means stamp it out. 3a squared, we're going to do that 3 times. Have an exponent outside the parentheses, stamp out the parentheses. B squared, 4b squared. Put our numbers together, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 4 and times 4. Followed by our a's, a squared times a squared times a squared. And then b squared and b squared. Multiply, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 4 times 4. It's going to be 432. A's have the same basis. We can add their exponents, so this will be a to the 6. B has a base of, B's have the same basis. We can add their exponent. 2 plus 2 is 4. 21, no exponents on the outside, so we're going to rewrite. 4 times 3 times a negative 2. Look at our a's. A to the 1 times a cubed times a squared. Look at our b's. B squared times b to the 4th. 4 times 3 times 2. It's a negative 24. All my a's are together. Let's add them up. 1 plus 3 plus 2. This is a to the 6th. And then all my b's are together. 2 plus 4 is 6. Next one's division. So negative 15. We're going to split up the numbers and the variables. Over 18. We have 4 a's on top. 2 a's on the bottom. 3 b's on top. 6 b's on the bottom. Reduce negative 15 over 18 is a negative 5, 6. Cross out your a's. We have 2 a's or a squared on top. Cross out your b's, and we have b cubed on the bottom. So our answer would be negative 5 a squared 6 b cubed. 20. Number 23. Again, separate the numbers. Separate the letters. We know that c to the 0 is going to equal 1. 20 divided by 4, that's 5. Let's look at my a's. I have an a to the negative 5. I'm going to move it to the bottom to make it a positive. B to the 6, that means there's 6 b's on top and 2 b's on the bottom. We'll end up with 5 and then 4 b's on top. In the bottom, I can add these and get a to the 11. Okay, the last word problems. If the area of a rectangle is 12, they give you the area and they give you the width. It's asking for the length. So I have the area. We know the area is length times width. I know what the area is. I know what the width is. I need to find the length. So when they give you the area, you know you should be doing a division problem. You're going to take the area and divide by either the width or the length that's given. So the area is 12, a to the 7th, b to the 4th. The width is 4, a squared, b squared. 12 divided by 4 is 3. When I stamp out the a's, there's 7 on top. There's 2 on bottom. So 2 are going to cancel, and we're left with a to the 5th. With the b's, we have 4 on top, 2 on bottom. Cancel out, we're left b squared. So this is our length. Now we have the height of a parallelogram is given and the base. We want to find the area. They're giving you the formula for area is base times the height. This is a multiplication problem. So 6a squared b to the 5th. And then our base is 4a cubed b to the 4th. Put our numbers together, 6 times 4. Put our variables together, a cubed and a squared. And put our b's together, b to the 5th and b to the 4th. 6 times 4 is 24. We're going to add the exponents for the a's, get a to the 5th. Add the exponents for the b's and get b to the 9th. 26, find the area of a square whose side is a to the 5th b squared. If it's a square, all sides are equal. So to get area, we're going to multiply both together. A to the 5th, b second. A to the 5th, b to the 2nd. So we have a to the 5th times a to the 5th, b squared times b squared. A's are together. Add the exponents, we have 10. B's are being multiplied. Add the exponents, we have 4. So our area is a to the 10th, b to the 4th. Last, we have a perimeter of a triangle is given. So the perimeter is given. The perimeter is given as 8x squared minus 2x plus 6. And they're giving you two sides of a triangle, but you're trying to find the third. So one of the sides is x squared minus x. The other side is 4x plus 3. We are trying to find this other. We know that perimeter is add all the sides. And so if I add them all up, I should get this. So to get that third side, the third side is going to be the perimeter minus the other two sides. So side number 1 and minus side number 2. So we'll start off perimeter, 8x squared minus 2x plus 6. Notice we're dealing with a minus, so that means we have to change the signs. So this becomes a minus 1x squared and then plus a 1x. We're subtracting side number 2, so I'm going to change the sign. This is a minus 4x minus 3. So now when I simplify, 8 minus 1 is 7, is 7x squared. And then the negative 2 plus 1 minus 4, we're going to get a negative 5, or minus 5x. And then 6 minus 3 is a positive 3. So the third side is 7x squared minus 5x plus 3. This concludes review for Unit 13.